Hello, 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 and welcome back to another edition of Fan Talk, your favorite podcast by your favorite fan. K Branch in the house. Hey, how we doing today, guys? It's been a minute. Last week's episode was a vlog, so it's been a few weeks since we've been in the studio. Welcome to Fan Talk. Fan Talk is a podcast by the fans, for the fans. We're talking everything that a fan wants to hear, say, and do here in the sports world. We got the sign, posters, candle burning. Welcome to Fan Talk. Fan Talk, I'm everywhere you can find your podcast. If you like the video versions, YouTube, Spotify, but I'm also on iHeartRadio, Apple, Amazon, anywhere you get your podcast, Fan Talk is there. We've been talking World Cup soccer for the last few weeks, and we're going to continue that trend today. We'll look back at the round of 32, the round of 16, how the Team USA did. We'll look ahead to the quarterfinals and what teams are left, and we'll get ready for the final here in just a couple of days. We'll also take a look at Wimbledon, some tennis action going on, and we'll mention some NBA Summer League just a little bit at the end, so stick around for that. Welcome again, guys, to Fan Talk. I'm glad you're here. It's been a fantastic World Cup. But before we get into that, our hearts are very heavy this morning. Bonnie Tyler. You guys may know her for her song Total Eclipse of the Heart. She was a big singer back in the 80s. Songs like Total Eclipse of the Heart, It's a Heartache, Holding Out for a Hero. She passed away this morning. Died too young. We're missing her. We will always remember the impact she left on the music scene and the way she touched our hearts. This World Cup has been fantastic. It's been super fun. The last few weeks have been phenomenal. Yesterday was Wednesday. Was the first time there wasn't a soccer game on in like 4 weeks. And I was like, what am I going to do with myself? No World Cup on yesterday. Thankfully, today we have France and Morocco. I'm filming this episode on Thursday. Soccer is back, and it's so good. Let's kind of recap where we were last time. So last week, if you watched the vlog, if you haven't checked out the vlog, go check it out. I was in Dallas. Got a couple World Cup games. Since then, we've had the round of 32 and the round of 16. We are now in the quarterfinals. So let's look back here on the round of 32. Some fantastic games. Every game, minus maybe 2 or 3, have been very, very intriguing. First and foremost, if we start at the top of the bracket, Paraguay upsetting Germany in penalties. Now, Paraguay snuck in there as the third place team out of Group D. This is the team the United States beat 4-1, and they go and beat Germany in penalties and take France all the way to the 80th minute. I think it was finally in the 80th minute that Kylian Mbappe put in a penalty to win. So Paraguay really put up a fight. That's a bonus for introducing the round of 32. They wouldn't have been there if we didn't have the round of 32. So moving forward, of course, the World Cup's going to be like, we'll keep the round of 32. Canada made it as far as the round of 16. That's the farthest they've ever gone as a country in the World Cup. They're ecstatic about that. The United States made it to the round of 16. Now, it would have been really nice to see them to the quarterfinals or to go beyond that, right? They finally met their match in Belgium. The United States just really can't get past European teams. Who's to blame there? I don't think really anyone's to blame. I think the United States did just about as good as the United States were expected to do. Now, I know a lot of people were saying, they can win the World Cup after seeing them in their first 2 games. This is their year. This is their tournament. But realistically, if you watch soccer, international soccer, and I know a lot of you don't, and that's okay. And the World Cup has really piqued your interest in soccer, and you're kind of new to soccer, or you're new to following world soccer on the international stage. The United States is not in the same level as these European teams, as some of these South American teams. Yes, the United States is the king of football, obviously. They're the best at basketball. Baseball, they just won the World Baseball Classic. Hockey, they just won the gold medal in the Winter Olympics. Track and field, during the regular Summer Olympics, they win the most golds. For the most part, the United States do have a leg up on these other countries when it comes to sports, but not when it comes to soccer, football. They're just not in the same category. And so can we sit here and say the United States failed? Did they not live up to expectations? I guess you could. You could say that because this team was supposedly better than teams in the past. 8 years ago, the United States didn't even qualify for the World Cup. 4 years ago, they were just lucky to get out of their group stage and into the round of 32. New coach and Pochettino, some new players, some higher expectations, I think led us to believe perhaps that the United States would do better than they did. But honestly, you make the round of 32, that's expected. You beat Bosnia Herzegovina, that's expected. You go up against a Belgium team. Now, Belgium's a good team when it comes to soccer. A lot of people were like, Belgium? I don't even know where Belgium is, this tiny country in Europe. How did they beat us, the United States? Well, go watch some soccer and you'll know that Belgium is a very good team. Yes, the United States did not play that well in this game. I think the United States could have beat Belgium. Honestly, if they played as good as they did versus Paraguay, as good as they did against Australia, as good as they did against Bosnia and Herzegovina, if they played their A game and all their players brought their A game, they could have beat this Belgium team. It wasn't impossible. This Belgium team is a great team, but they're not unbeatable. And the United States could have beat them. They did not play well. But still, this Belgium team, very good, came out and showed us that, hey, the United States still has a lot to prove, still has a lot of learning steps to get them to where they want to be. But this was a good step forward for the United States, a successful tournament, in my opinion. Some people are going to be very harsh on the United States. They made the round of 16, and it is disappointing that they did not show up against Belgium. But Belgium is a European soccer nation. I mean, they get past Belgium, they were going to go up against Spain. And if they lost against Spain, theoretically, was everyone going to come down on them and say, oh, the United States did not show up? I sure wouldn't have. Spain's one of the favorites to win it all. So, in my opinion, as disappointing as it was to lose 4-1 to Belgium, I think the United States making the round of 16, playing very well in every single match, minus the Belgium game at the very end, successful tournament. Unfortunate they're out, but successful tournament. Team USA all the way. Stars and stripes in my heart all day. Some other games that I should mention, Norway's doing quite well. They took out Ivory Coast and Brazil on their way to face England. That should be a fantastic game. Mexico did the best that they could, but England shut them down in Azteca and Mexico City. That was a fun game. Mexico, Canada, the United States, the three hosts are now all out of the World Cup. So the host will not win. And let's talk about Argentina. It would be a crying shame if I was talking about the World Cup and I did not mention Argentina, led by their GOAT, Lionel Messi. That game, that first round of 32 game against Cape Verde, oh my word. If you did not watch that, if you did not watch highlights, go back and watch that game. That was fantastic. Argentina, if you don't know, you should know this. You probably do know this. Argentina, they're like the best. They're the best. Lionel Messi, they have the best player in the world on their roster. They won it 4 years ago. Argentina is the best. Everyone in Argentina eats, sleeps, and breathes soccer. That's the only thing they care about. They care about nothing else but Lionel Messi and the Argentina soccer team. And then there's Cape Verde, a country that I've talked about on this podcast so much that by now you know where it is, but before you had no idea where it is. And they went head-to-head, toe-to-toe with Lionel Messi and the Argentines and almost beat them. We had to go into extra time for Argentina to beat them 3-2. My favorite game so far in this round of 32. Argentina moves on and they play Egypt. Now, Egypt, we all know where Egypt is. We all know what Egypt has to offer. This is the farthest they've ever gone in the World Cup, the round of 16. They were up 2-0 on Argentina. But Lionel Messi rallies his troops and they fight back and they win in stoppage time 3-2 over Egypt. Just absolutely incredible. You feel bad for Egypt. They played a good game. They did all that they could, but it wasn't enough because Lionel Messi and Argentina, they're just a different breed of soccer players. They're a different breed of footballers that we just do not see here in the United States. Another fantastic game. They'll go on to play Switzerland. Switzerland, kind of a good run themselves. Took out Algeria, just took out Colombia in penalties. They've made it to the the quarterfinals. They've actually been to the quarterfinals before, but it hasn't been since 1954. And I guarantee none of you were alive in 1954. If you were, comment down below the Swiss emoji flag if you were alive in 1954. But we have our quarterfinals, our final 8 teams: France and Morocco, Spain, Belgium, Norway, England, and Argentina, Switzerland. Now, it's a very favorable bracket for Argentina. I think France and Spain are going to advance, and that's going to be a fantastic semifinal with France and Spain. England, Norway should be fun. I think England has the edge there, and it's going to be England, Argentina for the other semifinal. That should be really fun. Any of those 4 teams could honestly win the World Cup. If you're a betting person, bet on one of those 4 teams right now before a stock gets too out of control. France, Spain, England, Argentina should be fun, but there's been a lot of upsets. I could be wrong. Could we see a Belgium sneak in there? Could we see Erling Haaland and Norway? Could we see Switzerland pull off the biggest upset in the quarterfinals? We'll have to keep an eye on that. I'm so excited. I'm going to be sad when it ends, but we're not looking forward to that. We're living in the moment. And right now in the moment, we're having a good time, and it's going to be fantastic. All right, guys, before we sign off, I know we've been talking World Cup. I know we've been talking soccer. You're like, Kyle, come on, there's got to be something else. For all you tennis fans out there, I really like watching tennis, but it's tricky because there's just not enough time in the calendar for every sport to have sole possession of our attention, right? Wimbledon has been going on, and it's the biggest tennis final of the year, arguably. The French Open's my favorite. I really like the French Open. You have the Australian Open, you have the French Open, you have Wimbledon, you have the US Open, but Wimbledon's kind of the king or queen, I guess, if you should say, of all of those. Wimbledon's been really fun. It's been going on. Maybe you've caught a few matches in between World Cup matches, but let me catch you up if you haven't been doing so already. Let's start on the women's side. Number 1, Aryna Sabalenka. She lost. She lost in the 4th round to Naomi Osaka. So the number 1's out. Number 2, Elena Rybakina. She's out. So number 1 and 2 went down. It's kind of a crapshoot. Once 1 and 2 go down, then it's anybody's game, really. Osaka went down. Coco Gauff just lost. And we have 2 Czech ladies, people from the Czech Republic or Czechia, who are going to be in the championship. I don't know what it is about Czech Republic, but they produce very good tennis players. Should be super fun. On the men's side, we're still awaiting the semifinals to play out, but we still have Jannik Sinner, who's the number 1 left. We have Novak Djokovic, who's still kicking, 37, 38. Alexander Zverev, who just won the French Open for the first time on the men's side. He's the 2nd ranked player. And then we have underdog Ferry from Great Britain, not ranked, but he's an underdog. Should be fantastic semifinals. So if you have some time tomorrow before you start watching the World Cup, go check out those semifinals. It's early in the morning. You have to get up at 7 a.m. to watch these semifinals, but it's totally worth it. High-class tennis, high-quality sport, super fun. Wimbledon, always a good time. Go check out some tennis. And before I let you go, I'm like pulling out all these butts. I'm like, and wait, there's more. Let me mention real quick the NBA Summer League. So this is what happens if you're not familiar. So the NBA draft happens. The guys graduate college. They get drafted into the NBA, and they play in the Summer League. It's kind of like to get them used to the NBA, to get them prepared for the NBA, to get them adjusted from college to the NBA. So they play other teams. So for example, the Utah Jazz, they'll play, they just play the Memphis Grizzlies. They're going to play the Washington Wizards. So they just play these other teams, and the roster's not their full team. It's not their like starting team. It's usually their rookies or their 2nd-year guys who are trying to make the roster, make the NBA. So we'll see Darren Peterson. We've seen Darren Peterson. He was the 2nd pick overall for the Utah Jazz. He's done quite well in the Summer League so far, putting up 20-plus point performances in each of the 2 games that he's played so far, squaring off against Washington Wizards and AJ DeBonsa here in the Vegas Summer League. But it's been super fun to see. I don't necessarily like follow it religiously, right? Because the season hasn't quite started. Again, as I mentioned, it's rookies or 2nd-year guys who are trying to make the final roster, trying to prove that they can play in the NBA. A lot of these guys are G Leaguers, so they play in the league below, the development league. It's super fun. Darren Peterson and AJ DeBonsa squaring off tonight at the Thomas & Mack Center in Las Vegas. So if you're down in Vegas, go catch some NBA Summer League. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Fan Talk. I appreciate you. If you're still hanging around, Thank you. If you're watching on YouTube, please consider leaving a like or comment, subscribe down below. It really helps out the channel. If you like what you hear, please leave a review on Spotify. All right, guys, thank you so much for tuning in to Fan Talk. I'll catch you guys next week for another edition of Fan Talk.